Mic check, mic check. We're going to record a couple podcasts, but we're going to do it live. These podcasts will be for the In Hindsight podcast, the short form podcast, also bringing some long form podcasts over there. But I'm just going to be recording. So this will be a live recording. So I might be here for a little bit of a while. Might have some stumbles, might mess up. So I just came with the idea right now. I'm like, instead of just me recording these podcasts in private, let me just do it live. Let me do it live and then post it next week on Spotify. Or hopefully I post them next week on Spotify. We'll see how it is. We'll see how it goes. Hope it's a beautiful day for those that are tuning in. I see Kenya in the building. I think about Kenya every single day. First podcast I have here is called Love by Design. But the name may change actually, because sometimes when I'm uploading them, they change. So live recording, as the title says, and I'll come chat for a little bit after I'm done recording. Someone says you should create a Heinz AI so we can have a guru with us. I've actually had companies approach me about that, but I'm kind of scared to I don't know, give all that information to a company and create the AI, but maybe later in the future. I need to have control of it. Justine says I get nervous when I try to record. Yeah, recording live is definitely nerve-wracking. That's why I'm doing it, right? We got to do things that we just don't like to do sometimes. Love by Design is this one that we're going to call. If you're not familiar with the podcast, it's very much so a short form podcast, bite size, 8-10 minutes long. I'm also going to start posting ones that are 40 minutes long. And my goal, which has been a goal for a while, is to just somehow get it back to like almost like a daily experience. I think that would be quite good. I've kind of like come back to a place where I really want to do it, and I kind of owning what I'm good at and going to lean into it. I was almost going to run away from what I was good at, but that's a conversation for another day. So first podcast is titled Love by Design. Again, I am recording this live, so I may have to repeat myself a couple times. I may stumble my words, and be patient with me. Self-love is not a single act, but it's a choice. It's a choice to build a home, a foundation for ourselves, one that we stand on, built with love. It takes time though. Looking in the mirror and telling yourself, I see you, I love you, may create a dopamine effect that feels good in the morning, but by lunch, your inner critic could be screaming again. Ain't that true? Love is built, it's not just found. It's a consistent effort that compounds over time. When a construction company decides to build a home, on day one, they do not have a home, but they've just prepared the soil. Maybe a month later, they have laid the cement, but they still do not have a home. At some point, they start to put up the pillars and the walls, but still no home. But it's being built. Same goes for the love that we have for ourselves. It takes time. It takes time and energy to craft our aura, an energy that could be felt as soon as you step into a room, to raise our heart posture, especially after a tough season. Maybe a death, a breakup, a tragedy, a suffering. We may be full of love one season, or so we think, and then deconstruction begins. Something happens. We start to see ourselves in a lower light. We're slipping, we're falling. Our words start to cut deep. We critique, we regret, we compare. We look in the mirror and highlight every flaw and insecurity that we can find. Why do we do this? Some of us go years consistently crafting our own demise. And then we wonder, why do I feel the way that I do? Where did the love go? But we've been deconstructing our home, tearing it down for a while until there was nothing left. Actually, we cut so deep beneath the ground. Now there's a hole, now there's a void. And now we're looking around like, damn, homie. In high school, I was the man, homie, shoot. We need to build a new home for ourselves. So it's time to build. It's time to pick myself back up brick by brick. We wake up and the first thing we do is we hear our inner critic. The inner critic has taken the main stage. It's the pilot now, but it's time for that change. Get up. Get up. Write it out. Do some morning pages, 3 pages of writing where you get all your worries, your fears, ideas out on paper. After that, 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things you love about yourself, 3 things that you are proud of. Then go for a walk, and on this walk, you talk to the Most High. You talk to God, Jah himself, the most merciful, forgiving, and loving. And you feel his presence. And visualize where you want to go, the future you want. Ask for it. Explain it deeply. Get nitty gritty into the details, because the Most High, God, will listen. And God will step back and say, what else? What else do you need? What else do you want? Don't be shy. Let him know. And then start your day and be prepared all day to reaffirm to yourself who you are, what you value, what lights you up, the future that is in store for you. And this is all one brick. You got to build again the next day. You are still left with no home, no foundation, because self-love is built, faith is built. It's not just found. It's something we craft. It takes your intention. It takes your presence. It takes your energy. It takes your time. It takes your belief. And if you don't believe in yourself, ask God for a little bit of help. Help me believe, nurture my heart, pour faith, belief, and more understanding into it. Ask for wisdom, even the wisdom, the crumbs off of his fork. Oh my God, what could we do with that? And ask again tomorrow, pray for it. And again, the next day. It takes time to build a foundation. There's stages, there's seasons, there's difficulties, there's solutions, but with our persistence and our willingness and our effort, and the ability to craft consistency, we will wake up one day and the first words that we hear will be, I love you. I love you. Judgment will lose the race to your heart, because love and grace has locked the door. The fireplace is on. It's just you and God loving on yourself, thankful for who you are. It's warm, it's present, ain't it? There isn't anybody else on this planet you would want to be, because you see yourself, your gifts, your flaws, and it's beautiful. And you know there's so much more in you to explore. You did that. You built that. You built a home. You built a home with a strong foundation, not on quicksand. And the next time you go through a tragic experience, you're going to be equipped to lead with love, because you already know that you're going to leave with your love. You're doing great. Continue to do the work, because love is built with intention by design over time, stone by stone, brick by brick, just like the pyramids, which still to this day stand strong. And so are your love. Love by Design, first podcast, done. That will go on Spotify and Apple. We're recording the podcast live. Never done this before, so y'all can kind of see the vibe I get into. It's actually quite fun though. These are actually like softly written out. I kind of like leave a little bit of room so I can just like add some more magic into it. When I first started my podcast, I didn't write anything out. The first 200 episodes were all just like pretty much off the dome, but it wasn't off the dome. It's like, these are things I'll be saying throughout my mind and out my head, but then I started writing them, which is good, just expressing through a different medium. This next one I wrote a while ago, so I don't even fully remember it. So bear with me if I stumble on this one. This one is titled Hard Choice. Recording podcast live in hindsight. Okay, let me make sure I'm recording on my mixer. Hmm. Okay, let's see how this one is. Doing things is tough. It's hard. You know, I was listening to an album the other day of an artist that I like, but this album, I didn't like it. It wasn't because there was no effort placed into it. Sonically, it just wasn't my vibe. So I turned it off, but I paused for a moment and I just meditated on how difficult it really is just to put together an album. The time, the resources, the self-doubt an artist has to navigate through, the ideas, bringing everything together for a cohesive experience, and then sharing with the world just to be judged. Hard choice. Doing things is tough, but I respect it. I respect anybody who does the thing, anybody that's a doer, because I know how hard it is. Bringing something that's in your mind into fruition is an achievement in itself, regardless of how it's received. Every day there's a hard choice we have to make to do or not to do, to show up for ourselves, to stick to our commitments, our goals, or shy away. Self-sabotage, reject our very experience, reject our very existence. A poor habit, a cycle that can be difficult to break. You know, we get up and you take a step and then we fail. It's tough and it happens over and over. It's a hard choice to make. But what is harder? But what's harder is never doing the thing, never attempting, never knowing. We think if we don't fail, we protect ourselves from the disappointment. But never taking a step is already a failure in itself, the worst kind. Because visions become imprisoned. When they stay in the mind. Truth is, life is hard. I've never been able to maintain success consistently day in and day out. Always feels like I'm riding the highs and lows. But the truth is, I don't know how to quit. I don't know how to not try. I know how to fail. I know how to fail. And something is, I've learned after a series of failures, I'm always met with a breakthrough. We move through confusion and achieve a bit of clarity. Doing things is hard. Designing a life is hard. It's simple, but we choose our hard. It's also hard to sit on the algorithms all day watching everyone live their life. It's also hard to struggle with finances year after year. It's hard to look in the mirror and not like what you see. Every day we are met with a hard choice. But one of the most beautiful places you can be is in a place where sometimes you are just sick of yourself. You are sick of your ways of thinking, your being, your daily actions. You have had enough. It's hard. It's time to choose a different hard. It's time to choose a different hard. A new way to be. I have this morning checklist where every day I do 5 things in the morning to set myself up for the day. It's hard, even though it sounds simple. But every day, I high five myself in the mirror. Something I learned actually from Mel Robbins. Then I write down 3 pages, something I learned from Julia Cameron. You see all the teachers and mentors we have all around us, the inspiration we can have. We're all sharing the blueprints from the mistakes that we have made. Then I do a morning pour, a cup of tea where I pour into myself as well. As I boil the water, I meditate on something I'm grateful for. As I steep the tea, I choose one thing I am proud of. And as I fill my cup, I choose one thing I love about myself. Sounds simple, but it's hard to do consistently. And after that, I go for a walk, get the natural light in my eyes, fresh air in my lungs, and let the body know today we are in motion. Come home, sit with my breath, and prepare the mind and start my day. And then I'm here. This sequence, yes, it's fun, it's beautiful, but it is hard. But I do this because my inner critic is harder. My inner critic is so hard on myself. Sometimes it likes to abuse myself, wake up in the morning and start highlighting all the problems and the insecurities, highlighting the past and current failures, highlight the worries of the future. And I'm guessing your inner critic is hard on you too. But it's time you censor yourself a little bit. You let it know today, not the day. We don't bury it. That's why we put it in the morning pages. Everything the inner critic has to say, we say, okay, sure, you can say it here, put it on paper, but I'm not letting you affect my day, affect my heart, my light, because we're protecting the sacred parts of ourselves. It's hard. It's hard to protect and serve. It's hard to see yourself in the best light every single day, but it's a lot harder to judge and to resent and to hate ourselves, isn't it? We're responsible for this relationship. There's nobody else we can point at when it comes to the quality of this connection. With friends and family, we can pinpoint where they don't show up, but with ourselves, it's all on us. And that is hard, to stay accountable with ourselves, to be real with ourselves. It's hard. Our relationship with ourselves, I believe really it should be top priority. That and one with the Most High. Everything else is a ripple effect from there. Each day, each morning, regardless of how busy we are, I gotta fix that part. One time I lived in this very toxic household. I would wake up at 3:30 every day just to give myself 2 hours to nourish myself before the individual I lived with, the toxic individual I lived with, woke up at 5:30. Now that is hard, but it was harder to wake up and be met with that toxicity first thing in the morning. Every day, you see, we have a hard choice because something is hard. Doesn't mean we can't love the hard. Shit, hiking is hard, but I love it. Traveling's kind of hard. Sitting on a plane for 12 hours going to India, yeah, that was hard, but I love it. Loving ourselves is hard, but we can love that too. Looking in the mirror is so hard sometimes, but we can love that experience as well. It's simple. Doing shit is hard, but I truly believe the destination is in every step, and we can love each step along the way. That's the hard choice, though. Let's choose our hard. That one was cool, but there was something I actually missed in the middle there, but all good. Hard choice. It will be up on Spotify and Apple next week. We're recording podcast live. Let's see what else we got in the tank. That's actually crazy. I actually have a podcast called What Else? A little tea break for a second. A little tea break. Record these podcasts live on YouTube with the tribe. If you're watching the replay, what's up? Side angle. Y'all already know I love my side angle. How are we feeling in the chat? How's your day going? How's it flowing? Halloween today. Happy Halloween. Are you trick-or-treating? I think I'm gonna actually watch a scary movie later. Cynthia says, Heinz, are you not doing the study sessions anymore? No, we'll do the study sessions soon again. I'll be honest, I haven't had much stuff to edit, and I've been working on other things that haven't been in the studio as much. So we'll do the study sessions again though. I just don't have a set schedule, but we'll do them again at some point. Get that going. That was a real beautiful community we had going for a while. We were really tapping in on those study sessions. That was fire. Yeah, soon time. We're going to do that again. We're going to do that. I love it. Let's see what my next podcast is. What else is there to do but grow, patience, persistence? So for the podcast, what I want to do again is before I used to have Monday to Friday a short form podcast. Now I want to have 3 short forms and 2 long forms. So Monday to Friday again, but maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are these short ones, which are 8-10 minutes. Just something just a little listening experience. I think I'm really want to more focus on the listening experience. Obviously I'm a visual guy, but the way things sound is really important to me. And I like how people consume a podcast while they're walking or going to work in the car or, they're at the gym. Like, it doesn't take away from their life. And, I've been very like, seasonal with the podcast. Like, I'm there sometimes, I'm not. But I think like for the next 2 years, I really want to commit to it and turn it into a daily experience again. And I think I finally have the tools to do so. Someone says, what? I've noticed that most of those are pretending to be a life coach. They know nothing about what we are going through, and they reframe our lives based on their experience only. Yeah, I've never had a life coach. I think life coaching is like a whole industry in itself. I've had many people ask me to be like a life coach, and I've just never been interested in it. I've never been interested in it because I just don't think I have the tools to fix someone's life. Right? I can only just share my own personal experiences and observations, but we all have our unique lens. But, I think I do know one guy who was a life coach, and he was an amazing life coach. I actually did videography for him. I helped create his programs, and I watched this guy really transform lives. It was quite powerful. Like, he could really command a room, and like he would create these experiences. Like, I remember one time he rented out this cabin, and we went out there and we all stayed there and we slept there. It was this big cabin, and he had these different exercises and practices. And one was like a screaming one where like everyone is like circled around you and you're in the middle, and he's just like, okay, just let it out, just scream. And it's really nerve-wracking. Now, I was filming it, so like, I'm just filming all these people scream, but I didn't realize at the end he was gonna throw me in it too. He's like, you gonna get this healing too, Hines. So he put me in the middle as well, and I had to do it, and I was freaking nervous, and it felt weird, but it felt good after. So I love life coaches like that who create an experience as well. So I think it's really powerful. But I think, it's, obviously people can have a good experience or a bad experience with a life coach or with a therapist, like, I don't think you can just like taint the title with a negative brush, So shout out to everyone just out there trying to like bring positivity into the world. I think anyone that just wants to like bring a little bit of light and, be in service to others is a beautiful thing, because there's a lot of opportunities to do other things that are, that like kind of like, do the opposite. So it's real beautiful. So I'm going to do another podcast here. I wrote this one also a long time ago. These podcasts to me are kind of like, they're supposed to be, I don't even like calling them podcasts. They're almost like a little spoken wordy, even though I'm not like a spoken word type of guy or a poetry type of guy, but some of them can kind of be like that, for sure. Okay, we're going to do this next one. It's called What Else? What Else? It will be live on Spotify and Apple, Google, all of that. What else? What else? What else? What else? I need more cup of tea. My mouth is a little dry. Someone said, try dancing like a toddler. It gives you the same feeling. Yeah. Like a toddler? How do you dance like a toddler? How do you do that? Maybe I need to do that. Yeah. There's actually 2 things I want to do that I feel like I need to do. One is I want to go to like an open mic and just like maybe like read one of my podcasts. And 2, one day, just for the heck of it, I want to do like a 5-minute stand-up bit at like an open mic comedy show. And the idea of that is horrifying for me. But I think regardless of how it goes, I think I would be proud of myself. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things I want to do. I think I want to go to a different city though and do it. I don't know if I want to do it in my own city. That'll be weird. Okay, I'm going to read this next podcast. It's probably a shorter one. What else? What else is there to do but grow? It's our natural progression, our nature, regardless of our procrastination or somebody else's ill will intentions toward us. Nobody can stop our flourish. Nobody can stop who Jah bless. Nobody can curse who Jah bless. You feel me? We are growing beautifully, my friend. Can you feel it? You may not see it, because sometimes the growth is just not visible, but it's felt. Just like the trees are just there, but yet, just like the trees, they are there getting bigger and bigger without us noticing. This season, what else is there to do but grow? We better have the audacity to accept it, the audacity to take up more space, the audacity to show this planet what we are made out of, what God placed within our spirit. Oof, God made you a one-on-one. What else is there to do? When we look at our options, to be honest, it's pretty simple. Should we marry ourselves with distractions? Should we compare ourselves? Should we hang out with people who don't see or really love the real us? Should we abuse our body with substances and foods that affect our energy and our well-being? Or do we grow? Sometimes getting to the next stage of life isn't about trying to jump so high. It's more so a removal process, a pruning. Sometimes we just need to trim the things that affect our growth and watch ourselves blossom. I remember 11 years ago, I looked within, I looked above, and I set an intention. I want to grow deeply. I didn't love who I saw in the mirror. I didn't enjoy the life that I was living. I looked around and realized my soil, my environment, it's awful. It was as if I was a new seed trying to sprout in concrete. But beneath the concrete, what is there? It's the earth, it's the soil. Now, I didn't have the resources to move to get a new friend group instantly. I couldn't travel for a life-changing experience, but I needed to grow where I was. So I started digging and removing the weeds. That's a lot of metaphors today. But I got rid of the people who I knew weren't truly for me. I got rid of the processed foods. I got rid of any substance or stimulant that clouded my perceptions, my clarity, and distanced me from my emotions, and I sat with them. I decided to be intimate physically with nobody. Instead, I would be intimate with life. I wasn't adding much into my life at all. I was simply removing. I was pruning. You can't stop the sun from rising each day. You can't stop the birds from flying. Nature will simply take its course, and so will we. The thing is, I started to blossom beautifully, and I realized the growth was always there waiting. Growth is always available if you make space for it. Beneath the surface, like seeds in the soil, patient, persistent, powerful. We shed the layers that no longer serve us, like trees dropping the autumn leaves, making space for new buds, new life, embracing the cycle of change. And in this shedding, this letting go, we find our roots growing deeper and our branches reaching higher. Our very being expands. We become more of who we truly are, not by forcing or striving, but by allowing, by accepting, by nurturing the essence within. And as we grow, we see others around us flourishing too, a forest of souls interconnected, supporting each other's ascension. Beautiful, ain't it? What else is there to do but grow? To unfurl our petals to the sun, to dance with the wind of change, to drink deeply from life's well. We are nature incarnate, ever evolving, ever becoming, our growth unstoppable. What else is there to do but grow? Super short, that one. See, that's like more like a spoken word one. But I'm gonna still post that because I still like it. Little short listen for the Apple, for the Spotify. Short listen for the Apple, for the Spotify. I'm gonna do one more. I have like 7 more, but I'm not gonna do them all. I have another one called Passive Passenger. I love the podcast because I don't have to think of a catchy title, and I don't have to think of a thumbnail. God, I hate titles and thumbnails. Oh. Someone says it was hard for me to wake up every day at 4 a.m. Now I am consistently waking up between 3 and 4 daily, including weekends. Damn, that's amazing. My life improved greatly since now. I'm addicted to this lifestyle. Oh man, I love that. 3 to 4. I actually remember when I used to wake up around that time. I'm not doing it right now. More like right now I'm doing like 6. But I remember when I used to get up at 4:30. By like noon, I felt so accomplished. I felt like, man, if I just did nothing for the rest of the day, it's still a win. It's just like a different type of, it's almost like you just have more time. It's like, I don't know. It's different. Like you just capture more of the day when you wake up that early, and the quiet and the peace that the morning brings you. Ain't nobody texting you that early, nobody calling you. It's still a little dark out, whatnot. That's beautiful. Passive passenger. Man, this one might be rough. Let me see. You're the director. You're a storyteller. It's like tuning an instrument. We'll give it a try. I'm not sure though. Passive passenger. This one I might have to rewrite. Do you ever talk to the mind? Real question. Do you ever talk to your own mind and just tell the mind it's okay? Tell the mind, not today. Tell the mind, you can rest. We can observe the mind, right? We can react to it. Do you ever talk to it? An overactive mind needs a gentle nudge at times, a reminder, a confirmation that it's okay to rest today, to step out of overdrive. No need to meditate on the worries or the regrets of the past. No need to think about what they're doing right now. And that work, it can wait till we clock back in. Let it rest. Let the mind be. Easier said than done though, right? I have an overactive mind. Thing is, it doesn't have to be so difficult. If we just realize we are in the driver's seat. We're in this together. The mind is in the passenger. Grab the wheel and lead. Grab the bull by the horns and go. The ego works in similar ways. The ego wants to lead and wants to be the driver. The ego wants to lead and wants to be in the driver's seat so bad. And if we're a passive passenger, the ego, we already know, will get out of control. But you're the creator. You're the director. You're the editor. You're the storyteller. Remember that. You're the producer. Tell the mind to let it rest. It can rest. It's okay. Today, I got it. Take a knee. Humble yourself. And let the heart lead. Let the soul go. Feel the comfort of the light in your own being. Hey, mind. It's okay. Come rest. Sit with me. Come breathe. Breathe through it. Walk it through each breath, and you will see that the mind loves to rest. The mind loves to rest. It loves to be idle. It just needs that nudge, that reminder at times. Because so much happens within the mind. Two people can experience the same exact thing. One can feel immense pain, and the other can have immense gratitude. The difference is what happens in their minds. It's the perception, it's the perspective. The way we look at things changes how we receive life. Some of us take so many things personal and it affects us deeply. It gets in the way of our own progression and affects our mind. It poisons our mind. Our mind gets worked up. We get in a bad attitude, and now we're projecting negative vibes back out into the world all day. Let it rest. Tell the mind it's not a big deal. Tell the mind what they do has nothing to do with you. It's not a reflection of you. Just tell the mind you can rest today. See it as a practice, a meditation, a way of life, an intuitive, gentle response, a regulation of the nervous system, a symbiotic relationship with the universe. Powerful, right? It's like tuning an instrument. A musician tunes each string, just like we must tune our minds and our spirit, finding that harmony within so we can play this symphony of our lives beautifully. I think we underestimate the power of a gentle nudge. God whispers. He don't be screaming. He be whispering to us. speaking kindly to our mind, reassuring it can transform our entire experience. It's about nurturing that inner dialogue, quieting that inner critic, one that acknowledges the mind's concerns but also lovingly guides it back to peace. Next time the mind is racing, just let it know it's okay. Next time the mind is racing, just let it know it's okay to rest. Remind it of its place. Don't be a passive passenger. Let the mind know that you're the driver and it's a valued passenger. And on this journey, it's okay that we take the wheel and the mind can look out the window and just appreciate. And in those moments of stillness, feel the connection between the mind, the heart, and watch the soul grow together, stronger. Embrace the pauses, the breaths, those moments of silence. Let them be your sanctuary, your refuge. Man, that one's a little bit of a tongue twister. Let them be your sanctuary, your refuge. No, I can't say that. Let them be your sanctuary. In this space, you'll find clarity, you'll find peace. And as you continue on this journey, remember that you're not alone. We're all learning to talk to our minds, to soothe them, to bring them back to a place of rest. It's a collective journey. We're awakening, we're finding balance together. We end this together, living fully in each moment. It's about finding that stillness within, letting the mind rest so that the clarity can finally emerge. We often think that worrying and thinking about the problem will solve it, but yet yielding can overcome force. Yielding can overcome force. Just like the Tao teaches that softness can be greater than hardness. So when you speak to your mind, nudge it gently. Remember, you are more than your thoughts. Remember, you are more than your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. And in that awareness lies your power. So you can direct the mind, calm it, soothe it, create the life that you love and love the life that you are living. You can tell it to rest and merge it with your heart and soul to find peace in the present moment and step into position and know your purpose. It's beautiful, isn't it? Just give it the nudge that it needs. Let it rest. That one was a little short too, but it's okay. That was a little bit of a tongue twister. Okay, I don't think I'm going to record anymore because I realized some of these I got to write a little bit more, make them a little bit longer. I do have 7 more though. I have one called the pause button. I have one called residue within. I have one called this hill. I have one called close it. I have one called why though. And I have one called you're rushing. Let me see you're rushing. Ooh, that's a big one. That's a big one. Yeah, Monday to Friday, the podcast will be doing its thing again. 2 long form ones are the goal, 3 short form ones. Short form ones are a little bit spoken wordish. Long form ones are like, have more of an experience, got sound and stuff weaving through. I did a video like a month ago. That's a good example. It's like 45 minutes long. I really enjoyed that video. I think it was really good production wise. So we'll see how that goes. How are we doing in the chat? Let's see. Yeah. This is the first time we just recording the podcast live. I actually had this idea of just trying to do more of my creation live. Almost like an experimentation, like my own version of the Truman Show. To study and work with me is that's we're working live. But even some of my recording, doing it live, I think would be interesting. Plus for the creators out there, then it's anyone can just watch how I do. And you see when I mess up, I'm not really judging myself. I'm just I'm just learning. I'll realize sometimes the way you write isn't the way you speak. That's why I give myself a lot of room to add my own magic into the sauce. So certain times I'll write something, but I'll realize my tongue can actually weave those words together in the right way. And I take a mental note for the future, don't say those words together. I stumble easily. I can stumble very easily over certain words. Um, that's kind of why I want to learn a different language. I feel like it would like, I don't know, exercise my dialect game a little bit more. I've been learning a little bit of Japanese, and the cool thing was I was watching um, like what people wear in Tokyo. I love those videos on YouTube, like what people wear in New York, and it's just like people just showing all their dripped out fashion. And I was watching a Tokyo one, and they're speaking a lot in Japanese. And because I've been listening to a lot of Japanese, I was actually starting to recognize different words and phrases and knowing what they're saying. And I was like, ah, it was like the first time I felt like I was making some type of progression. So it inspired me to learn more because I was slowing down because it was feeling like, you could work at something and you feel like you're just chopping away at it every day, but you're just not seeing improvement or any rewards, and then you lose excitement. It feels like you have a dull axe. But that was the first time where I got like a glimpse of light. That, okay, I can learn a language. So we'll see how that goes. You should learn Croatian. Very useful. Yeah, that would cool. I think I had a Croatian friend. Someone said, so you write out your podcast first? I'm pursuing. No. So here's how my podcast thing goes. Like the first 250 podcasts I didn't write out. But now, because because my podcasts are short, I call them podcasts, but I don't think I should call them podcasts. They're like 8-10 minutes long, right? Because those are short. Now about 70% of them I write. So I can also like strengthen my writing game. But the long ones I can't write because I'm not gonna write something that's 45 minutes long. So those ones are more so I might have some notes, but or like some quotes I know I want to say, but those ones I don't write. But I also write these because I think one day I'll just take all this writing and turn it into like a nice like kind of light poetic spoken word book, like a pocket book. So it's kind of good for me to have this. So yeah, I think a mix of both. Like you never want to be too married to, do I have my other camera on? Yeah. You never want to be too married to a script, right? Like if you always read off a script or if you always read off a teleprompter, you lose the confidence to speak freely, right? But then you also don't want to rely all the time on speaking freely and never going deep, because when you write, you will go deeper, right? Because you can edit it, you can look over the writing over a few weeks or days, and you might write something one day and then like 2 days later you look at it again and you realize what you want to change. So I like to strike a nice balance between writing and like free flow, and the more I write, the better I can free flow now. But I personally hate doing videos with a teleprompter. I just feel like I lose the magic in my speech because I'm like married to the words, and yeah, it just feels weird to me anytime I've tried with a teleprompter. But different strokes for different folks, Someone said your podcast helped me get through the hardest time of my life back in 2021. It's a favorite way to start the day. Yeah, so like I want to bring that back. Like I do understand that like there's a time and place for everything, and maybe that it might be done like that, but like I do want to bring it back, and hopefully it's of use for people again. But I want to commit to it for 2 years, like a beautiful listening experience. So we'll see how it goes. And longer ones, like I never posted longer ones, so that's kind of my goal, is like also do like 45-minute ones, and then maybe like once a month do one with a guest, like a special episode. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think I'll start doing it. Maybe maybe like once or twice a month I'll record my podcast live, like we did today. I'm not gonna lie, I never recorded the podcast live, so I was pretty nervous. So hopefully when I listen back, it sounds good. But I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of nervous. It's kind of weird how like it's really no different, right? Like I like you're just like, I'm just live, and why would I be nervous? It's not like you're even in the room, but for some reason it's like you just know, so you become a little bit more nervous, right? Probably because you're like, oh, if I mess up. But that's why I was like, I'm going to do it live just to like, some things that make you nervous, you just got to do. Someone said, do you study any religion? Yeah. So I think when it comes to religions, like the main ones I study would be the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita. But yeah, I read the Gita because I like it as in like I almost read it for like creative dedication, like, like committing yourself to your craft, not doing it for the likes and the views. It talks about, stuff like that, not the likes and the views. I just modernized it. The Bible, I study Jesus' teachings for the matters of the heart. I just love Jesus' teachings, except for like end times prophecy stuff and like things like that. But like the rest, I just love that concept of like loving your enemy. I love how Jesus, God in the flesh himself humbled himself on his knees and washed his disciples' feet. I was talking to someone the other day about how, you see like those chosen one conversations online, how people say they're the chosen ones. And I'm like, I actually think it's the opposite. I think like the highest spiritual act would be what Jesus did, in a sense where like he was willing to get on his feet and serve his own disciples. I'll be honest. If one of my homies was on my couch right now, kicked up his feet, I'm not getting on my knees and washing his feet. I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying? I do love to serve people, but washing somebody's feet, I'm not there. But Jesus could get on his knees, being God himself, and wash his brethren's feet. Very cool. Also, I do believe like an eye for an eye keeps both people blind. I don't believe that like just because someone sparks a war with you or like, slaps you, like you got to hit them back, like Jesus said, if they hit you on the cheek, turn your other cheek to them. Why? Because you actually expose their hatred and evil and you don't match it. You take the high road. So those are teachings of the heart to me, and I follow those deeply. Now, I kind of avoid the dogmatic stuff when it comes to religion. Certain things I just feel that it was twisted or like it was kind of created in a sense to control people a little bit. But when it comes to like religions, it's the Tao for like the Tao for like philosophy, like light read, nature, balance, rhythm, the Gita for like creative dedication, and study Jesus' teachings for like the heart. The heart. Simple. I've been interested in getting a little bit more into like the Stoicism stuff, just to have like a more of a knowledge on those philosophers. Because I just hear always so many people talking about it. So I'd like to just be able to relate in some of those conversations. I've read a little bit, but like it's never fully pulled me in. But I like studying also just the history and the evolution of the Abrahamic religions and how things have come together and all that stuff. But it also gets very tricky. Like it's very unfortunate how many wars there are in the world and stuff. So I also try to stay away from some of those conversations and politics and things like that. There's so many things to divide us on the internet. I really try to do my best to find things to unite us. It's kind of like my reason on the internet. And I don't think it's the most, sexy thing, or it's going to like, it doesn't get a lot of attention, but there's just so many ways. There's just so many things to divide us, online. It can be so exhausting. Should I do another podcast? No, I'm kind of parched. I'll do the rest tomorrow. When I was playing with my hand pan over there, doing like a light little, just sitting there breathing, being idle. And then my next podcast inspiration was called The Pause Button. And it was all about how like my favorite mode is go and fast forward, but sometimes the most powerful button is the pause button. And it's the ability to pause, the ability to not have it all figured out, just the ability to trust and to be where you are in a season. And I think that is like a season where I am right now. Although I want to go like head first, I want to speed, I want to kind of control things so I can feel good about things. I just keep feeling like I'm supposed to pause and just like hit that pause button. So I came up with that idea this morning, and I got to think about it deeper tonight. But I swear I was just sitting there and I felt like a little whisper say, the pause button, Hey, we got Robbie in the building. Nice to see you, Robbie.